Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you're watching a video for the first time, my name is Stalin and I make videos related to French learning and English learning. Today, I'm going to share the best tips and tricks to succeed in the TEF exam and also how to learn French more effectively with using right tools. And these tips are actually from my own experience and from my own progress, how I learned the language. So if you're preparing for TEF, this video is definitely for you. So now let's get started with our today's video without any delay. The first thing that is really important, it's understanding the structure of the exam. Because if we know what's the structure of the exam, what we are preparing for, it becomes easier for us to build our time accordingly, how much time you're gonna give to this module, how you're gonna practice for this module, and everything. So it's really important that you understand the structure of the exam. We have 4 modules in TEF exam. The first one is listening. In French, we say compréhension orale. So in listening, we have 40 questions. The duration of the exam is also 40 minutes for this module. There is a particular section in listening, which is from question 23 to 30, in which audio plays twice. Otherwise, for all other questions, the audio only plays one time. And all 40 questions are gonna be MCQs. And the second module, which is reading, in French we say compréhension écrite, there's also 40 questions. The duration of this module is 60 minutes. And same as in listening, all the question is gonna be MCQs. You're gonna have 4 options and you're gonna have to select one correct option. And the third module, which is speaking, in French we say expression orale, it has 2 sections. Section A, in which we get a advertisement or a publicity. It can be related to a job, any activity, or anything. For purchasing something, it can be for different topics. The duration of this section is 5 minutes and it's a formal conversation. So your examiner will be playing a role of a person who posts that advertisement or a publicity, and you will be asking questions to the examiner. And the section B, that is an informal conversation. In same way, we're gonna get an advertisement or a publicity and the examiner will be playing a role of your friend. So you will gonna have to convince the examiner to do that particular activity or apply for a job, whatever you're gonna get in your topic. And the duration of the section B is 10 minutes. So in total, the speaking module is for 15 minutes. And the fourth module and the last module is writing. In French, we say expression écrite. It also has 2 sections. Section A, in which we have to write a short story about 80 to 100 words. In it, we get like a short line or maybe 1 to 2 lines sometimes, that, and then you have to build a story around that. Whatever you're gonna get in the information, you will have to make a story of 80 to 100 words from it. And section B, that is like we get a statement from a newspaper or a journal. So we have to write in our, like, what's your opinion about that statement? Are you agree? Are you disagree? Are you like sharing a mixed opinion? So you have to write a letter to the person who wrote that statement. So this is all the information related to the structure of the TEF, the exam. The writing section is for 60 minutes, 20 minutes for section A and 40 minutes for section B. Now, the second more important thing, that is building the foundation of the French language. What main things that we need to learn, which is really basic, some basic vocabulary. For example, daily life vocabulary. Daily life vocabulary, I mean by the things that you see on your daily basis. And as we know that nowadays, most of things that we see, like it can be any food products or any products, it always has English and French on it. So it's a good way to learn. If you see any product at your home, anything, so you see both things, like okay, in English it says this, in French it says this. So it's an easy way to learn in that way, if you try to learn it from your surrounding, the daily life vocabulary. Also, some words related to work, and gather the vocabulary for family, food, health, transport, environment. Because in section B, most of sometimes topic is related to these topics. And also, the other thing that you have to learn is opinions. For example, it's basically for writing section as well and for speaking as well, that when you're preparing for exam, so you basically, when you start practicing, you see some of the topics are very common. So you can prepare some specific opinions for specific topics. Okay, if I get this kind of topic, I can use these opinions for this topic. If I get topic related to health, these are my ideas. If I get topic related to transport, these are my ideas. So you can do practice in this way. And also the other thing that is important is learning connectors. Learn common connectors, because if you learn connectors, they will be used everywhere, in your speaking, in your writing section. And for the grammar part, what you need to focus on is just simple present, past and future tenses, and also how to use que, qui, dont, eu. And other thing that's important is pronouns. It's really important. And also, like what I feel is always use a simple sentence structure, because sometimes what we do, we try to use a complex sentence structure, and in way of trying to make it more complex, we totally change the meaning of the line from what we are trying to say. So if we are even using a simple sentence structure, but the meaning of the line is clear, the meaning of your idea is clear, it's gonna give you more points. And also, as always, good grammar is equal to clear communication. Because if your structure is well written, or if you say your structure really well and in a clear way, it's gonna give you more points. And the other thing that is really important, our third point is active listening. Because most of us live in areas where we don't have French surrounding. So try to create your environment more of French. For active listening, what I mean is listen French podcasts, listen French songs, listen to French news, watch TV shows or series with French subtitles. Because if we create our all, like instead of seeing or watching or listening things in other language, if you're learning French, trying to score for your TEF exam, try to change your surrounding for your listening. Try to make it more towards French. Try to create your environment for your listening related to French. Listen to podcasts, listen to songs, and some news or watch any TV shows or series, watch in French. And another important tip in this section is try to mimic what you hear, because sometimes when we hear a word and we try to say it in the same way, we try to mimic it, it's gonna help you to improve your pronunciation as well. Because when you hear a native person saying it, you're continuously mimicking it, it's gonna help your mouth to practice. So try to do everything in French. Try to listen podcasts, try to listen to song, news, everything in French. And the other thing is try to speak every day. This is really, really important, because I know for some people, some of us, French is not a native language, right? We don't know anything. We don't feel confident. We feel shy when we speak, because we are afraid to make mistakes. If you feel in that way, try to speak it alone in starting. Try to describe your day. Try to describe your favorite movie, series. Then record yourself and listen to it. And then try to record it again. Try to make a difference. And also try to speak with your friends a little bit, because with friends, if you're gonna start speaking with your friends, it's gonna help you to reduce your hesitation. And also, once you overcome your fear of speaking, then start practicing sample questions specifically to TEF exam. Because more you're gonna speak, more it's gonna help you to become confident in speaking the language. Try to start speaking from the very first day when you start learning French, because it's really important. Sometimes we think if we first know all the vocabulary, we know everything, then we can speak in a good way. But that's wrong, because that hesitation still there. So start speaking from the very first day, even just some vocabulary words. Just try to speak aloud. That's gonna help you. The more you're gonna speak, the more you're gonna try to have a conversation with your friends, or even recording yourself and listening to it again and again. Try to do practice describing your day, movie, series, describing about your family or anything. Try more and more that you can speak. And the fifth important thing that is specifically related to writing, it's about that you create a file, or maybe on your notebook. Try to have some clear arguments about specific topics, and also get your connectors right. Have your 20 to 30 connectors with whatever you feel comfortable with using. So get some connectors and try to use them in every topic as much as you can, because if you're gonna practice it while doing your writing section again and again, if you're gonna use it, it's gonna help you to master how you can use the correct connector at the right place. And also keep your sentences simple but clean. As I explained in the previous section as well, it's really important that the meaning of your sentence should stay clear. Instead of writing a very complex sentence and then missing a whole point of your idea, just write a simple sentence. That's gonna help you, and that's gonna get you more score. And the other important thing is the verbs, because In French, we have some verbs. If we use, like, that's not good at the sentence that you're using it, because some verbs have multiple meanings and it can be used for various different things. So it's really important that you understand where to use which verb. And again, avoid long confusing sentences. And the sixth good habit, which I'm gonna say, is that's really, really important, is like, again, creating your environment and creating your habits towards French language. Like, if you think just reading textbooks is going to help you to learn French, that is true up to some extent. It's really important that you get the French into your real life experience. For example, having your phone language in French. If you, as nowadays most of us use Instagram most of the time, so try to, check and listen to French videos on Instagram pages. Watch short French clips daily. Like, whatever you're doing, just keep listening to French. You're cooking, listen to a French podcast, listen to French songs, or maybe watch series while cooking. You're walking, listen to French songs, listen to podcasts. You're cleaning, the same thing. Like, whatever you're doing, try to keep listening to French. And also, every day try to learn like at least 5 to 10 vocabulary words, because these little things is gonna make a big impact. If you're gonna change your habits, your daily life habits to these things, it's really gonna help you to succeed in your TEF exam. The other thing, which is specific TEF exam strategies for listening, like, don't wait to understand every word that they're saying. Try to focus on the keywords in the audio, and always keep your eyes on the question, because sometimes we don't understand whole text, and in like when they're speaking and you're trying to understand it, and in the meantime the question get passed and you're not able to answer the question. So it's really important, try to focus on the keywords when you're reading the question. Focus on what the keywords that you see in your MCQs, and then when you're listening, try to focus on those words. And for the reading section, always what I do is I always read the question first and scan the answers, like what are the keywords I have, and then I just like try to find those keywords in the paragraph. And always like try to do scanning instead of like focusing on each. Where you see a keyword, then on that section you can pay more attention and understand it, because otherwise sometimes the time get passed and you're not able to answer all of your questions. And for the speaking section, explaining your answer well using examples. Try to use your personal examples. Try to use connectors. And one more thing which is really important, because some people think that speaking really fast is the good fluency when you're learning any language, but that's not very true, because you're just trying to speak fast but you're making a lot of mistakes, and that's not a good impact. Instead of that, if you're speaking slow but your meaning is really clear and the other person is able to understand you what you're saying, that is more good for getting good scores. That's gonna help you more in your fluency, because Always speaking fast is not a fluency if you're making a lot of mistake while speaking fast. And for the writing section, as we speak about it previously as well, planning your ideas, knowing that what you're gonna write for the specific opinions, and always try to keep your paragraphs short, like give your idea, explain it in the second line, and then in the third line give an example related to it. Try to make a format and try to follow it exactly in the all topics, because it's gonna help you to practice, like what is your practicing criteria, how you gonna write. Because if you're gonna keep changing it in every topic, your format, how you write it, it's not gonna help you. Just choose one format in how you're gonna write it. For example, how I do it, I give my idea first in the first line, then combining to that line I give the explanation why I'm giving that idea, and then I just give a short example related to it. So it's just like a paragraph of 3 to 4 lines, because we have to give 3 arguments, for example, in the second section. So it really helps us, like you will be able to complete your number of words as well, and you will be able to give your idea clearly. And the 8th thing, and which is most important, it's staying consistent while learning. Because it's not magic that you just start learning and it's gonna be like you will be able to learn it in few days. No, that's not how it works. You really have to be consistent while learning it. Because some people, what they do is like, I studied for 3 hours, I studied for 4 hours in a week. But for me, like from my personal experience, what I believe is even if you can give like 10 to 15 minutes daily to the French language, it's gonna make more impact. The reason why I'm saying is because for example, for a week you haven't did anything, you haven't listened to any podcast, like, or did any listening practice or reading or anything, and you're learning just for one day and doing it for like 5-6 hours. That's not gonna make an impact, because your connection between the days, it gets broken, because French is not our native language, and we cannot practice in this way. So even if you can give like 10 to 15 minutes, maybe do some listening, read some vocabulary words, or maybe just read a short paragraph. In that way, you will be in touch with language every day, which is really important. Because if our touch gets disconnect and you're practicing it off for like 7 or 8 days, doesn't matter if you're doing it like for 7 hours in that day, because then your touch will be broken. And like from my own experience, it's really important that we do practice every day. I know most of us are working, we don't get much time to do daily practice, but as I mentioned in a previous point, that even if you can listen to a podcast or a songs, like at least listen to French language while you're doing cooking or cleaning or whatever you're doing, that also makes impact, because you are still in touch with language. Even if you didn't get time today to do a specific practice task related to TEF exam, but you still listen to something, your ears are still in rhythm with the language. Because, and also there's one more thing, when you keep listening to the same songs, you keep listening to the podcast, you will be able to sing with the songs, you will be able to understand the podcast, you can repeat the words and you will be able to catch them. And if you're gonna keep doing it consistently, you will gonna like the language. You will gonna start loving about learning this new language, because it's really important that we feel very interested while we learning the language. And the other thing that is really important is using the right tools to what we are learning from. There's sources that I use for like listening podcasts or things. So TV5 Monde, Inner French, Français Facile, French Morning Podcast. And nowadays I am also listening to Evelyn. It's basically some motivational videos, but it's also a good podcast to listen. But these are the podcasts that I listen usually. And for specific TEF sample exams, like there's sample answers, like samples on YouTube for listening practices, reading practices. And for speaking as well, there's some on my channel as well. And there's a website that is Prep My Future. There's samples for the exam specific for TEF exam for all 4 modules. And for reading, what I do is like there's short paragraphs on these 2 websites, which is Readlong and Fabulong. What is the good thing with these websites is, while you're reading the text and you don't understand the meaning of the word, right there you can just click on the word and you will be able to see the meaning of it. And also on the Readlong, you can listen to the story. For example, you can listen to the pronunciation of the story. Like you can first listen to it, like you can play it as a story, and then you can read it by yourself, which is gonna also improve your pronunciation, because when we read stories, it's gonna help you like understand how to pronounce the words, because readings also helps you to speak more good. These are some resources that I use for my learning, and like podcasts that I still listen to. And now it's time for important thing, which is like real thing to succeed in your TEF exam, is believing in yourself. Because nowadays, you're gonna see a lot of people who's gonna tell you that you can't do it. French is your not native language and you're not doing good, or whatever. They're gonna give you so many negative points for not to learn. But if you're gonna believe in yourself, then you will definitely be able to succeed in it. Because in starting, nobody's perfect. We have to start somewhere. And if you believe in yourself, you can really make a difference. Because the only difference between person who is succeeding and giving up is the practice and believing in themselves. And you can really do it if you really be consistent, practicing it every day, and having patience to learn the language, and you're believing in yourself. So that's all from my side. These are the things that I used to do while I was preparing for my exam, and it really helped me, and I hope these tips will help you as well when you're learning. And that's it for today. If you want more TF tips, grammar lessons, vocabulary lists, or sample speaking answers, just let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if this video helped you. Merci beaucoup et bon courage pour votre TEF.